Okay, so it's Jackie Hole on behalf of State of Search, reporting this time from New York, just off Times Square. We thought we'd come into the IAcquire offices to meet none other than Mike King, otherwise known as iPaulRank. Hello, Mike.
Hello, greetings and salutations.
So he's going to talk to us today a little bit about tools. So I've got some questions that have been sent in. So the first question is, how do you use tools to get the best out of them?
It really depends. You know, every tool has its strengths and weaknesses, and I'm kind of like a tools power user. Being that I'm a developer, I tend to, stretch the tools to their limits, and then at some point it's kind of like, okay, well maybe this tool isn't going to do exactly what I want, so I have to throw together some sort of hack, whether it's in Excel or just another tool that I can build in like PHP or something to that effect that'll just clean up that data a little more for me. So it's really about understanding the limitations of those tools and figuring out how to get from point A to point B and do what exactly you're trying to do.
Fantastic, okay. And so with that in mind, what tools do you use regularly for the work that you do?
Tools I can't live without, I'd say Scraper for Chrome, Screaming Frog, Search Metrics, SEO Moz. What do I have open right now?
Yeah, what do you have open right now? Can we zoom in, or is it trade secret?
It's probably better they don't see my screen. But yeah, I definitely have Search Metrics open right now, Screaming Frog, Moz, Excel.
Here we go.
Yeah, pretty much the standard stuff.
This is where the magic happens. Mike was saying you should have tidied up, but it doesn't matter, it's all good.
But yeah, I mean, I still do client work every day, but I do a lot more marketing for us. So my desktop was different when I solely did client work, but I also use a lot of our market research tools. You know, we're doing a lot of audience analysis using like Experian Simmons and Nielsen Prism and stuff. So those are open for me a lot as well.
Right. And what type of tool is missing for you as an SEO? With all those, is there any that you would like to have?
I would like to have something that really puts everything in one place, and I know that Raven Tools does that, but more something that kind of like puts the workflows in place. And that's actually something that Ethan Lyon from Sierra Interactive and myself are working on. We're working on this thing called the SEO Cookbook. And it's kind of like if this then that, and essentially people can create recipes for how they can use tools together. And it's like you just log in and you say, okay, I want to do link building today, and here are the tools I have available. What can I do with that? Like how can I approach using these two tools together or these three tools together to accomplish link building that day? So that's something that we're actively building right now, and I think it's going to be critical for the SEO space because there's so many tools out there, and it's easy for us to get lost in this tool glut where it's like, yeah, I want this new thing and this new thing and this new thing, but how can I actually use these things and maximize the usage of these things?
That sounds great. Can I get my hands on a copy of that cookbook? When will you be going live with it, do you think?
It's going to be a free SaaS tool. I could actually show you some of the wireframes for it after we're done with this.
Sure.
But yeah, it's going to be a free thing. You sign in with Twitter and everybody can use it. We're thinking it's going to go beta in January. It really depends on how much time I have, but I'm trying to knock this out because I think it's going to be really useful for SEOs.
So cooking with Mike, if we can expect to find that at the Amazon top 10 pretty soon. Excellent. Okay, so one of the questions was, do you use outside tools or do you also use the tools do you build tools yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's an invaluable quality, being able to build your own tools. Like a great example of this is Tom Anthony from Distilled. He's built some really awesome products. He built this thing called SERP Turkey, where you can have two mock-ups of SERPs and basically put it on a mechanical Turk and get people to rate the different SERPs. So you can see what people will actually end up clicking through on. And then he also built something called the Author Crawler, which you can give a bunch of links and it's going to crawl through and find which of those pages have real author, and just kind of get ahead of that author graph or agent rank, you know, which Google is starting to employ with the real author tag and stuff like that. So those type of ideas are great to have, and then it's even better to be able to execute on them. And I mean, by the same token, that's how I've always been as an SEO. If there's something that's not out there that I need, I can just make it. Whereas if I couldn't do that, I'm kind of just at the mercy of the tools that are out there.
Fantastic. So that actually leads into free tools quite nicely. So do you actually have some free tools that you've got that other people can use?
Yeah, I've made a few things actually. GoFish is the tool, it's probably my favorite tool that I put out, and what it does is it pulls tweets, the last 200 tweets for a given keyword, and identifies the co-relevant terms. So you can easily get content ideas, you can see what topics are trending, with regard to your keywords. You can see who are the people that have tweeted about those keywords and what their clout scores or their parent indexes are, and that way you can have a built-in audience for whatever you end up creating from those ideas. We also built something called the Broken Link Index, which is built on the Common Crawl data, and it basically identifies resources on the web that have links to them that no longer exist, and then it provides a link to the Wayback Machine so you can look at what that content was and recreate a better version, and then just reach out to those 50 people that are linking to the resource that's 404. We also have something called Authora, which is kind of like Tom Anthony's author crawler, but on the other side it's like an index of authors. So those are two tools that I've created since I've been at IAcquire. We also have Link Diagnosis, which is a tool that we built that's similar to Open Site Explorer. So we have a bunch of things that we're making and we're making better because we believe in innovation here. Like, we're a technology company that's also a comprehensive SEO agency, you know, so we try to use innovation to make us better at what we do. We have no problem, you know, giving some of those unfair advantages to the SEO community. And, oh, one more thing. And we also have our own tool called iRank. So all of our content marketing, link building is built on this platform. And it's a really transparent platform where all of our clients have 24/7 on-demand access to everything we're doing. They can see all the links that we've built, the number of people we've reached out to, the analytics as far as rankings and traffic correlated to the number of links we've built. And it's a full service platform that we use internally for everything we do.
So you have full transparency with your clients. So they get to use these tools as well, or are they tools that you use outside of?
No, we use the tools, but they can see what we've done. So we do all the outreach, we do all the research for the sites that we're going to reach out to, and then they can see the number that have been queued from the research, the number that have gone through QA, the number that have been reached out to, and then like where they stand as far as, you know, has the person responded, did we place the link, and then once we have placed the link, they can see the URL for the link and they can go right to that link. Our software also monitors all the placements that we've gotten for the client, and if a link goes down, then we know we have to build another link. So we kind of have like a link warranty package and stuff like that.
I definitely need to have some of that. So will you be renting that anytime soon so that I don't have to use Excel anymore?
That's a huge question that everybody asks us, and they're like, yeah, can we license the software? Right now, I don't think we're going to do that, but definitely in the future, that's something we're looking to do. And it's kind of like, we have an agile technology team that's led by a guy named Jeff Nappy. And it's kind of like IAcquire is the beta testers for iRank, and we continue to improve it. And then at a certain point, we will probably, you know, build up the scale for us to have clients that directly use iRank. Just not right now.
So one of my questions was going to be, with or without tools, what SEO tasks take up most of your time? But with these whizzy tools that you've got in-house, what are the actual tasks that take up your time, given that that's taken care of?
I mean, it's really the analysis, because, you know, a computer can pick things out based on the patterns you give it, but it can't tell you a direct answer to a complicated problem. So it's really, those tools massage that data for you, and then you have to look at it and make those decisions and devise that strategy. So yeah, that's what takes up most of my time, that analysis and that strategy.
So the most important tool is your brain.
Absolutely.
In my case, I'm not so sure about that. But hey. We recently went to SMX East, and I was speaking to Andy Atkins-Kruger and Bill Hunt, and they were having a discussion about the fact that for the top level SEOs, they often provide the training, but there's not necessarily a place for them to go for training. So where do top SEOs go in order to get that training? Or where do you learn?
I learn by doing. I mean, obviously I read all the popular blogs, and I've been to a lot of conferences. I know a lot of people, we talk and share ideas, but I think we need, as SEOs, we need to get away from that more academic mindset where everybody's just like creating this echo chamber and saying, hey, this works and that works, but really you have to always test things out and figure out what works for you, because somebody might give you a tactic and then you like sit on the idea for 20 days, but in those 20 days, every SEO in the world used that tactic and now it no longer works, but that original person still presents it as though that thing still works. So I think the value of testing is way more important than the value of reading blog posts or going to conferences or going to some sort of SEO class. But also to that point, I think there needs to be some sort of formalization of the training for SEO, and I don't know if it's like a certification that we need or something to that effect, but there needs to be something that makes it so not just anybody can get up one day and say, hey, I'm a great SEO. You know, I definitely think there needs to be some sort of something. Is it SIMPO? Is it, you know, one of these groups that defines that? I don't know what it is, but there needs to be something. And I know SEO Moz is actually working on some sort of way
They've come to get you. Okay, so sorry about that. It got a bit noisy, so we broke off. So back to the question. Speaking to Bill Hunt and Andy Atkins-Kruger about training, and they were basically having a discussion about where top SEOs go for training. So where do you learn?
Yeah, I mean, I learn by doing. First of all, shout out to Bill Hunt. That guy is really sharp and he's doing some really cool stuff. But yeah, I learned by doing. I mean, obviously I've read all the different posts and read a bunch of books, but what really helped me the most was understanding what actually works. So, I mean, the way I was brought into SEO is like I worked at an agency and they were like, okay, do this, do that, and I learned from seeing what worked from those approaches and what didn't. And I think it's really important that even if you go to conferences or you read The Art of SEO or read SEO Moz and Search Engine Land, all that type of stuff, that you're actually doing things and figuring out what is working. Because a lot of times people will give you tips and tactics that by the time you've gotten to them, they've kind of been rated by the whole industry, so they may not work, and that person may continue to preach that idea because it worked for them, but it may not still be an accurate thing. So it's really important that all SEOs test out the things that they are reading about and learn by doing.
Absolutely. So I was just talking about interviews a minute ago. In today's market, things change all the time. There's been a load of updates recently. So somebody new coming to the industry, what kind of skill set do they need in order to succeed, and what things should they be looking at learning before they start in the industry?
Before they get started, I think the first thing they need to decide is like how much they care about doing this. Like, hustle separates the wheat from the chaff. Right? Is that the saying? Anyway, the cream of the crop has hustle. Like, if you have skills, like even if you have dev skills or you understand marketing at a really deep level, if you don't have the ability to follow through on what it takes to do SEO, don't do it. Because the way this industry works is things change so fast. If you can't learn fast enough, or you can't be dedicated to, you know, rolling with the punches, this is not the industry for you. But if you despise boredom and you like to, have your hands in a bunch of different things, this is definitely the industry for you. So my ideal SEO, one, understands how to deal with people, has hustle, has at least a good understanding of code. Like you don't have to be a Tom Anthony, if you can spot issues in code, then awesome. But really that hustle is the thing I think is the most important, because anything we do can be learned. You just have to have the wherewithal to learn it.
Can anyone learn to do the rap that you did at MozCon?
No.
Okay, well, I think that just about wraps up our questions. You've been so generous with your time. Thank you very much. It's been an absolute pleasure to meet you. But where can other people find you if they want to talk to you about this after?
You can email me, Mike@IAcquire.com. I'm at iPullRank on Twitter. I'm on the SEO Moz blog. I write for Search Engine Watch sometimes. I write on the IAcquire blog now. It only took me 6 months to get my first post up. I also have a site, iPullRank.com. I haven't really updated it, but I think I feel the need to rant pretty soon, especially about guest posting. But yeah, I'm around. I'm on the internet. I'm easy to find. So yeah, thank you guys for having me, and look forward to sharing more cool stuff. Excellent.
Well, thank you very much, and we'll see you another time in New York. Where can we see you next?
I'll be at Seattle Interact. No, I'll be at PubCon next week. I'll be at Seattle Interactive at the end of the month. I'll be at Search Love Boston at the beginning of next month. And I'm speaking at a conference by another company called State of Search in Dallas.
Shut your mouth. We'll have words about that later.
I think that's it. I have a few things coming up in the new year. I'm speaking at Confab, which is pretty awesome to me. I definitely want to speak at more content strategy stuff. So yeah, I'm everywhere.